Hey everybody, welcome to Drive Thru Review 153. Today I'm going to talk about Ginkgopolis. It's a game from Z-Man Games, designer of Troyes and Tournai. It's a card game for the most part, but it has a board or sort of a set of tiles that make up a board. But it has a lot of this similar, familiar mechanics of a card game like a tableau game or whatever, like Race to the Galaxy, San Juan, a traditional card game. You're kind of building up sort of synergies and engines and trying to get some good combos going. As the game progresses, you're going to get cooler turns and do more stuff. But it integrates with building like a city, like a super futuristic city, with these tiles there, and playing cards off of the tiles as you sort of stack tiles in the middle, and that'll help your combos and things like that. So it's got a real interesting mechanics with sort of just a basic card game with basic card play, and integrates nicely with the board. So let's take a look at how it works, and I'll come back and tell you more about what I think. Okay, so I've got everything kind of set up here to start the game. You're going to take and shuffle basically the 9 sort of starter tiles in a 3x3 grid. You can see you've got 1, 2, and 3 in blue, 1, 2, and 3 in red, and 1, 2, and 3 in yellow. And you've also got A through L with these little tokens here. Now basically what you're going to do in the game is you're going to play cards. You're going to play cards either to sort of grow the city out, so you maybe play a card here to put a new tile where the L is, and then you move the L out. Or you may play a card to activate a tile and basically activate it and get some resources or more tiles, or possibly victory points out of the tile. Or you may play a card along with the tile. You will have some tiles behind your screen possibly, and basically build up and grow the city upwards. So you can kind of grow it, cover more area or grow it up. And as I said, everybody gets a screen like so, and it gives you sort of an iconographic layout of the 3 possible things to do on your turn. And then players are going to either draft or randomly be dealt, or be dealt cards out of a group. So you can see this one is a 1, and we can pair that up with another one of a 1, and so you're going to get 3 character cards in front of you. And these are going to dictate what you kind of start the game with. So this one will let you start with these resource cylinders here. So depending on the number of players, you're going to set aside a certain number of these resource cylinders, and then you'll put some behind your screen. So the ones that aren't behind your screen in the supply, you don't have access to, but you want to take actions to gather those, put those behind your screen, and then you can use them later for building some more construction here. You maybe start with some victory points here, start with some tiles here from the general supply, so maybe draw some tiles like so, and put those behind there. And so you're going to put 3 of these in front of you. And these are also going to give you sort of bonuses to start the game. So I'll explain what these are in a minute, but you can see the bottom of these cards has bonuses. So as you play cards and build and construct taller and taller buildings and different constructions here, you're going to get more ability, so that when you take further actions, you're going to be able to do a lot cooler stuff. So after everybody has 3 characters in front of them, you're going to take and shuffle up this deck here. And this is has all the cards matching everything that you can see on the board here. So you're going to have A through L, and you're going to have 1, 2, and 3 in the different colors. You're going to shuffle these up, and then you're going to basically deal out 4 of these to each player. Now if you're playing with less than 4 players, I believe, you're going to basically discard 7 of them out of the game. Not out of the game, but in the discard pile, and then you won't have use for those. And then everybody's going to have 4 cards to start the game. So what you're going to do is everybody's going to choose a card and then put it face down. And then we're going to reveal them, and then in turn order, somebody will have the start player here. We're going to go around the table, everybody's going to take the action. So you may play the card by itself, and you also may play it with a tile. So if you have some tiles behind your screen here, you may put this with a tile, so that you're either going to create a new tile and grow the city out, or put it on top of another existing tile. So the first thing you can do is play a card by itself, and if you play one of these letter cards by itself, you have a choice of either taking another resource from your supply back behind your screen, or you can draw a tile off the stack here. Next thing you can do is you can play a card matching one of the tiles that's out on the board. So if I play this 3 there, basically I'm going to activate that, and that's going to give me a tile. And you can see based on the colors here, the blue ones are going to give you tiles, and the red ones are going to give you resources here, these little worker resource tokens there. And the yellow ones will just give you straight up points. And you can see here your victory points here. So again, if I played the 3, I'd get a tile. Now what that's called is exploiting. So throughout the game, and I'll explain this in a little bit, you're going to get cards in front of you. So I've got a character card here and then some other cards underneath. So if I exploit on a turn, basically play a card by itself, then if I have any other cards in front of me, in addition to whatever I get, I'm going to get this stuff here. So if I played this to activate the 3 there, I'll get a tile, and then I'll get another tile and a victory point and another tile. So as you sort of play cards and get more cards out in front of you, you're going to get more stuff. Now the other trick with exploiting these is let's say I had stacked some tiles up here, and I'll explain how you build tiles in a second, but let's say this was a little bit higher, I had 2 tiles underneath it, and then I played the 3. So if I played a 3, I'm going to get 1 tile for each item that's underneath it. So basically the height of the stack is how many you're going to get. So as people build up, you're also going to get more and more stuff out of it. Now the next thing you can do is urbanize. So if I play this D here and I played it with a tile here, so I'll take this tile like so, and I'll play the D, and then I'm going to place this tile here, and then I'm going to move the D, and I can move it basically out this way, or I can move it up here, so I can kind of dictate how this is going to grow out. The only rule here is you've got to keep A, B, C, D all the way through L in a sort of alphabetical order. So I play this card, this card here with this one, so I build over the D and I put that there. Now the key with this is I need to have at least 1 resource in my color. That's what these little cylinders are again. I put the resource there, I mark that I own this, and then I'm going to put one of these gray construction icons here. And again, you may have cards in front of you that are going to give you bonuses when you do this urbanization action here. So you can see this little icon here. This basically means when I urbanize or when I place a tile on one of these discs, then I'm going to get a bonus. So I play that. This will allow me to draw another tile and then take another resource behind my screen. And you're also going to get resources for anything that's adjacent to it. So if I built this here, I would get 1 of my little cylinder resources behind my screen because I built adjacent to this red 2 here. If you were adjacent to one of the blue stacks, you would get tile. And again, it's the height of the tile. So if I was built this one here, and just for argument's sake, let's say this was here, and there was 2 tiles there, I'd get 2 points and then 1 resource behind my screen. Finally, the last thing you can do is you can build up. And this is how you get cards in front of you. Now when you urbanize, when you play to exploit a tile and basically, just try to get resources out of it, they're going to go into the discard pile. When I play a card to build up, I'm going to play the tile that's my target, and then I'm going to play another tile along with it. So I'm saying I'm going to build up on here, I'm going to put the tile there, and then this is going to stay in front of me. And this is how I'm going to start to get the bonuses to help me later in the game. So let's say I played the 3 card again with this tile. So I'll play this, put this in front of me, this will stay in front of me, and then this is going to go on top of the 3, the card that matched the tile. Now to do this one, I've got to have the height of the tiles, I've got to have that many resources. So now this is at height 2. I've got to have 2 of these behind my screen to be able to mark that and control it. And then again, I'm going to mark this with the gray cylinder like so. Now if you notice, these 2 are the same color. The bottom one is blue and this one is blue. If I built on top of a different color, I would have to discard an additional resource to the resources that I stacked on here to the general supply. So it's going to cost you an extra resource to change colors. Also, you can see that the 18 is higher than the 3. And the tiles go from 1 to 20. Now you can always go up at no cost. But if you were to somehow go down, so I've gone to 18 now, so I'm actually up pretty high. I'm almost to the maximum of 20. If on a later turn, let's say I wanted to build this 17, I would actually have to pay a victory point, because you're going to pay 1 point in difference between the tile that you're placing on to the one that you're going to put on top of it. And it's basically 1 point per difference in the number. So if I was building a 15, I'd have to pay 3 points. That's only when you go down. When you go up, you're fine. So at the end of the round, you're going to go through and remove any of these gray markers from anywhere that's a new construction. And then you're going to go through and dig out the cards that match here. So you can see here I've got 3 stacks of the different cards in order. So I built an 18. I'd take an 18, add that to the discard pile, and then I would go grab the 16 yellow, and then I would add that to the discard pile. So now that we've constructed the tiles for those, we're going to add that into the supply, and then these are going to get shuffled in with the starter cards in a mix of those, and then those are going to be able to get played on later turns. So the other thing to keep in mind is everybody will have played 1 card. Then you're going to take 3 cards and pass them to the player on your left. Also, the first player marker will pass to the left, so the next guy will get to do his first. And then you're going to keep playing until either one player has exhausted all of his available workers or resources onto the board, or we've run out of the stack of tiles twice. And before I talk about the end of the game, I want to talk about one little more aspect to building on top of the tiles, and then we'll talk about how you're going to score a lot of points at the end of the game. So the other thing to keep in mind is if I build another building on top of a tile where there's already somebody else's workers here, then what's going to happen is I'm going to build these. These are going to go back to whoever they control, and they're going to get 1 point, 1 victory point for each of the cylinders, and then I'll need to come back over here and then mark them with mine. And again, I'll need to put 3 on here because this is now a height 3. Now, if they're your own workers, you get them back behind your screen. You just don't get any points for them. So as I said, the game's going to end when one player gets rid of all of his cylinders, or we deplete this twice. Now what's going to happen when we deplete this the first time is players are going to have a bunch of tiles behind their screen, and they're going to choose to add some back into the general supply. So if I had, like, let's say these 6 tiles or 5 tiles here, then I would choose maybe to add these back in. I'm going to get 1 point for each tile that I put back in the supply, and then you keep the other ones behind your screen. Then you're going to keep playing, and then once this is depleted again, then the game will end. So how are you going to get points at the end of the game? You're going to get points throughout the game for playing yellow tiles, getting your workers or your resources displaced. Each player starts with 2 tokens like so, and they can, at any time in the game, before we go to play a card each round, they can discard one of these, and then they can redraw their hand. However, these are worth 2 points at the end of the game each. The next way that we're going to score points is if we look at the bottom and the bigger number cards for each of these colors here. You can see there's a variety of ways and a variety of cards with these equal signs here. So by having these in front of you, by having constructed basically on top of these, because remember, when you play this card, you're going to build on top of the 15 and put another tile. You're going to have this in front of you. Then you're going to get a certain number of victory points for different things here. And so some of these are hard for me to remember. So for each blue card, you get 2 points. You just basically gives you 9 points for each stack. 3 or higher, you're going to get 3 points that you control. So there's a lot of different ways to score points in here with the endgame cards. There's a nice index here at the back of the rule book to help you figure out what the icons mean. It's not too difficult. And finally, you're going to get points for an area majority of linked areas on the board here. And we do that by dividing the board up into districts. And the districts are basically a contiguous area of the same color of tile. So we've got sort of a blue area here, and a little red area here, and then a little yellow area here. There's got to be at least 2. These 2 don't count as districts because they're by themselves. So let's say we had a situation like so, where we had 3 greens and then maybe 4 pinks here, or 2 pinks there and 2 pinks there. So in this case, whoever has the most is going to get 1 point for each cylinder, no matter what the color is in that district. So in this case, pink has 4 to green's 3. They're going to get 7 points. The second place player is going to get points equal to all of the cylinders in their color. So green would get 3 points for his green cylinders. Now if there were a tie like so, then it would be 3 to 3, but green would win because it's on a taller building. And if they were both on a taller building, then green would win because it has the higher number building. That's how you break the tie. And that's pretty much the game. Okay, hope you enjoyed the overview. This is one that I would put in the sort of category of gamer filler. It is very simple and very easy to take in. You can really play this very quickly, especially with a lesser amount of players. I think we're going to get done in less than an hour with 3 easily. And I would say 3 is probably my preferred way to play this game. When you get a little bit more, 4 and 5 especially, it gets really kind of chaotic, a little bit too chaotic for my taste, especially compared to playing with 3. One thing that's neat is that you can, like I said, I think I mentioned this, that you can draft those character cards at the beginning of the game. And that gives you a little bit of sort of a way to plan and kind of go for a strategy to get a bunch of maybe resources behind your screen, or maybe start early getting a lot of victory points. Every time you do something, you're pulling like 2 victory points. So that's an interesting way to play the game. it looks pleasant on the on the table too, where you've got these nice graphics. Everything kind of has this sort of green feel to it, sort of a, I don't know, futuristic fusion of nature and architecture kind of thing going on. That's kind of neat to look at. And I don't know, it's a very easygoing game, very light, but there is that sort of pleasure that you get out of playing, big combos and getting a lot of things and scoring a lot of points. And then at the end of the game, you're going to be sort of trying to build those districts, and get, a lot of points and really try to grow the district out so you can get a bunch of more of your cylinders on there, but you don't want to get built over. And so maybe you want to build really high so that it's more difficult for people to, build on top of you. I don't mean high necessarily in height, which is good, but also a higher number, which kind of locks people, it prevents them from building on top of you without having to spend victory points. So it's a very easygoing game. It's quite enjoyable, and I think it's just kind of coming out right now. So Ginkgopolis, take a look at it. Thanks.